40 years old Anderson Silva. Those are the toughest guys so far you fought. You've lost to Tommy Fury, who's a very good boxer, but this is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is fucking
Is the
terrifying.
thing that nightmares are made of.
Joe Rogan just unleashed his most explosive reaction ever to Anthony Joshua's absolutely savage knockout of Jake Paul, and what the UFC commentator said right after the fight has the entire combat sports world buzzing about the raw, unstoppable violence they witnessed on Netflix last night.
Now, so they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is. And Anthony Joshua...
The legendary podcast host, who had warned Jake Paul for weeks about the storm he was walking into, seemingly couldn't hold back his emotions as he watched Joshua methodically dismantle the YouTuber-turned-boxer in front of millions worldwide. Sources close to Rogan's inner circle say he was watching live at his studio alongside several UFC fighters, and when Joshua landed that final bone-crushing right hand in the 6th round, the room reportedly erupted in shock and vindication. Insiders claim Rogan immediately exclaimed something like, "I told you. I've told everyone this was coming. You can't take a guy fighting Mike Tyson at 58 and throw him against a legitimate heavyweight destroyer like Anthony Joshua. This was inevitable." The reaction has already gone viral across social media, with fans and critics highlighting that Rogan had been one of the loudest voices warning Paul about the sheer danger he faced against the former two-time unified heavyweight champion.
58-year-old Mike Tyson. And then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division. Maybe we should watch the...
But what Rogan said about Jake Paul's performance before the knockout has left many stunned, revealing a part of the story that most casual fans completely missed during the broadcast. Before diving into Rogan's post-fight breakdown, Anthony Joshua himself dropped some jaw-dropping comments in his victory interview that had boxing purists cheering. Speaking to Netflix's Ariel Helwani right after the stoppage, Joshua said, "It wasn't the best performance. I wanted to pin him down and hurt him. It took me longer than I expected. Jake Paul did really well and he deserves his props. It takes a real man to do that and he deserves respect for trying and trying and trying, but he came up against a real fighter tonight." That statement immediately sparked huge debate online, some praising his sportsmanship, others thinking he sounded condescending by implying it took longer than expected to finish someone they saw as completely outmatched. Many analysts argue Joshua was genuinely frustrated with his own performance, especially since he was expected to finish Paul within the first 3 rounds. Yet the fight dragged into the 6th before the brutal ending, and the fact that Paul survived multiple knockdowns and kept rising has actually earned him respect from hardcore boxing fans who expected him to be carried out on a stretcher.
Jake would have either come full steam ahead 100 mile an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 mile an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 mile an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things.
Surprisingly, Joe Rogan's most controversial take came when he seemingly gave Jake Paul unexpected credit for his performance in the early rounds before Joshua's power completely took over. According to multiple sources at the live viewing, the podcast host appeared genuinely struck by Paul's movement and defensive instincts in those first 2 rounds. One source recalled, Joe kept saying, "Jake's actually doing better than I thought he would during rounds 1 and 2. You could see his surprise at how Paul was using his footwork to evade Joshua's heavy shots. But then, in round 3, everything shifted. Joe's whole energy changed as Joshua began methodically cutting off the ring.
Just let me know your thoughts on Jake going 6 rounds with AJ.
You know, the fact that he did that, it was good because you know we didn't think it was going to go 6 rounds. We thought it was going to go 2. So the fact that he made 6 rounds is an accomplishment for Jake Paul.
This nuanced take from Rogan feels worlds apart from the chorus of analysts who wrote off Paul's performance entirely, insisting he never had a shot from the first bell. Many see Rogan's perspective as carrying extra weight, given his years in the commentary booth across thousands of fights in multiple combat sports. Since the knockout, the boxing world has been split. Traditional purists cheering that Paul was exposed, while others argue he deserves credit for stepping in and lasting longer than anyone expected. One anonymous former UFC fighter reportedly told sources close to Rogan, "Joe was right all along. Jake had no business being in there with Joshua, but the kid showed heart. Most guys would have stayed down after the first knockdown, but Jake kept getting up. That's worthy of respect, even if the result was inevitable.
I think you're absolutely right when you talk about trying to knock someone out who hasn't come to play. They've not come to engage, they've come to run. It's a lot easier said than done. I think there's also this belief that AJ can just throw the right hand. He's got to set it up. I think Paul did a decent job of running, of slipping.
The most talked about moment of Rogan's reaction came when he dissected the knockdowns, laying bare exactly why Jake Paul couldn't handle Anthony Joshua's power. Sources say Rogan went deep, giving a detailed technical breakdown of the 5th round, where Joshua landed 2 savage knockdowns that paved the way for the 6th round finish. One insider recalled Joe going punch by punch, explaining how Joshua set up the body shot knockdown with precise head jabs before dropping levels. Then he highlighted the 2nd knockdown, a flawless 1-2, where Paul never even saw the right hand coming.
I mean, I expected Jake to fight the way he fought.
Right.
You know, trying to stay away. You don't know if how long that's gonna last. You know, Joshua has something to say about that. So you don't know, but I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised.
Right. Were you, I don't know, impressed by anything Jake did? Maybe he took a right hand to heavyweight.
This kind of technical insight is exactly what fans expect from Rogan, who has been breaking down high-level striking for decades through his UFC work. Sources suggest Rogan said something like, "When you're facing a guy who's 6 feet 6 inches and 245 pounds with Olympic-level boxing skills, every second demands perfection. Jake made one mistake. He got too close, and Joshua punished him with that finishing right hand." Trainers have connected with this analysis, knowing that at the heavyweight level, margins for error are razor thin, and a single clean shot can end a fight instantly. Perhaps the most striking moment in Rogan's post-fight reaction came when he turned to Jake Paul's broken jaw and the immediate tweet where Paul called out Canelo Alvarez.
Hey guys, don't pay attention in anything. In this fucking YouTuber. I just fight real fighters. Don't fucking around with Canelo.
Jake Paul had tweeted just hours after the knockout, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days. Sources close to Rogan say the podcast host was stunned that Paul was already talking about stepping back into the ring after taking such a brutal beating. One insider recalled Rogan saying, "This kid is either the bravest or the craziest person I've ever seen in combat sports. He just got his jaw broken in 2 places by one of the hardest punchers in boxing, and he's already calling out Canelo. That's not confidence. That's CTE talking."
Would have done better than Skull, though.
1,000%, without a doubt. I would have beat Canelo. And this is what I've been saying. He's over the hill. Obviously.
This comment has ignited a firestorm of debate over whether Paul's immediate call-out was pure bravado or just social media theatrics to stay relevant despite the crushing loss. Many boxing experts point out that Paul's broken jaw will need surgery and months of recovery, making any fight, especially against Canelo Alvarez, totally impossible in the near future. One fan reportedly tweeted in response, "Jake Paul just proved Joe Rogan right about everything. He got destroyed by Joshua, broke his jaw, and immediately started talking nonsense about fighting Canelo. This is exactly what happens when delusion meets reality."
My family, my beautiful fiance, Yuta, this sport has helped me so much in my life. I think my jaw is broken by the...
Another fan came to Paul's defense, writing, "Everyone's clowning Jake for the Canelo tweet, but name one other fighter who would step into the ring with Anthony Joshua and then immediately call out the pound-for-pound king. That's next-level confidence." This split reaction perfectly shows just how polarizing Jake Paul remains in combat sports. And the timing of Joe Rogan's vindication has become one of the biggest storylines, considering he spent weeks warning Paul about the extreme danger he was stepping into.
No, seriously, I'm being serious. I think there's absolutely no way he can beat a world champion and become world champion. But I will say he's improving a lot. He's dedicated to the sport. I don't know how good he is because he hasn't really faced a real fighter yet. It's not his fault. He signed to fight Tommy Fury.
A 5-time world champion in Tyron Woodley's a real fighter.
Mate, he's not a real boxer. He's not, Jake.
Well, I mean, the first skill in MMA.
In his now famous Joe Rogan Experience episode just 3 weeks before the fight, Rogan said, "Realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looked like a sparring session with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division." He went on with even harsher warnings. "That right hand, if it hits you, you are finished. This is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight, one-punch nuclear power. He's a specialist at putting knuckles through your effing brain, and that's exactly what he's going to try to do to Jake Paul." And, as it turned out, those predictions were chillingly accurate. Joshua's right hand was indeed the punch that ended the fight, shattering Paul's jaw in 2 places during the 6th-round stoppage.
With one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him.
Many combat sports analysts have noted that Rogan predicted almost exactly what would unfold, including his call that Joshua would be furious and driven to prove himself. Sources suggest that in Rogan's post-fight reaction, he felt both vindicated and somewhat sympathetic toward Paul for actually stepping into a fight almost everyone warned would end badly. One insider reportedly said Rogan remarked, "I respect Jake for taking this fight, but like I said from the start, there are levels to this sport. Anthony Joshua operates at a level Jake hasn't earned the right to compete at yet. Maybe in 5 years, with the right training and opponents, but not now." And perhaps the most surprising twist has been the boxing world's reaction to Joshua's performance. Many analysts actually criticized him despite the knockout victory.
What was it? Was it a little too long to get done, or?
No, listen, when you fight someone like that, who moves around a lot, then you have to try and pick your moments, pick your shots.
Yeah.
That's what he did. So congratulations to Joshua.
Renowned boxing trainer Teddy Atlas reportedly said in a post-fight interview that Joshua should have ended it in 3 rounds, not 6. Paul had no business surviving into the championship rounds. This wasn't a great performance from Joshua. It was a workmanlike effort against someone who shouldn't have been in the ring with him. This harsh critique sparked debate over whether Joshua's cautious approach was smart strategy or a sign he'd lost some of his killer instinct after the brutal knockout loss to Daniel Dubois. Joe Rogan, according to sources, sided with those who saw Joshua's caution as reasonable, noting that heavyweight boxing is the one division where anyone can land a lucky punch. Rogan allegedly said, "People are criticizing Joshua for not finishing Paul earlier, but that's actually smart fighting. You don't rush recklessly against any heavyweight, even one with far less experience." Joshua did exactly what he needed. He stayed patient, broke Paul down, and got the finish without taking unnecessary risks.
Just what but I think he was always going to take his time. I think he was always going to be the guy that wasn't just going to go in there erratic. I said this earlier. And if Jake was aggressive, then I think he would have actually got caught earlier. But he was smart. His movement was good. He was clever in the clinch. I was actually impressed. But obviously there was a massive gulf between them.
And it was a perspective that has resonated with many fighters and trainers who understand that heavyweight boxing demands a completely different approach than the lighter divisions. The financial side has also become a major talking point, with sources suggesting Rogan thinks Jake Paul will face serious decisions about his boxing future. The fight reportedly pulled in massive pay-per-view numbers globally through Netflix, with estimates indicating both fighters earned 8-figure purses. Yet, with Paul now suffering his first knockout loss and a double broken jaw, many insiders believe his market value may have taken a hit, especially among casual fans who once saw him as untouchable.
After the first knockdown, Jake is tough. He's tough. He's tough. But the first couple shots didn't land clean. The last one landed clean.
Where does Jake go from here?
Like he said, he need a rest. Take some time off. Enjoy the fruits of his labor.
One anonymous boxing promoter reportedly told sources that Jake's entire brand was built on the idea that he was different from other celebrity fighters, that he could actually compete with real boxers. Now that image is shattered, making it much harder to sell his next fight. Sources suggest Joe Rogan allegedly offered a different take, saying something like, Jake's team probably knew he was going to lose this fight. But by taking it, he earned more respect from real fighters than he ever would have by beating another retired MMA fighter. That has value.
Say what you want about Jake Paul, but that boy is a real showman. He got some real clean hits off, but I'm not gonna lie, what really got him down bad was the fact that he got gassed, bro. That was really it. He got so gassed. But one thing I think this fight did is it gained him a little bit more respect amongst the boxing community, bro. He went.
As the dust settles, the boxing world is buzzing with speculation about what comes next for both fighters. For Anthony Joshua, the dominant victory has cemented him once again as one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet and sparked renewed calls for him to face the winner of the upcoming Tyson Fury vs. Alexander Usyk rematch. For Jake Paul, the path forward is far less clear. His broken jaw demands extensive recovery, and his reputation has taken a serious hit. Sources close to Rogan say the podcast host allegedly believes Paul should take at least a year off to heal, both physically and mentally, from the trauma of Friday's brutal beating.
But the money they threw Canelo Alvarez to get him to fight Terrence Crawford, this is like they're throwing insane money at people. They're throwing nutty sums of cash at people to make amazing fights happen. Like this has always been the hiccup in boxing, is that people don't want to fight certain people because they want to protect their record. The Saudis are like, how much?
Everybody's got a price.
Yeah, everyone's got a price.
And we've got the bank account to pay it.
So here it is.
One insider reportedly said Rogan advised that Jake needs to let his jaw fully heal, then return to fighting opponents at his actual level. Build back slowly against legitimate but beatable boxers. Don't dive into another massive mismatch just for the payday. That's how fighters end up with lasting damage. Hopefully, Jake Paul takes this advice seriously and allows himself the time to recover before stepping into another dangerous fight. And that's all for now. For the best updates on news, moments, events, and action in the world of boxing, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss quality content like this. Until next time, peace.